Welcome to the Your Family Dog podcast, where we celebrate the special bond between families and their canine companions. Our goal is to help families and dogs grow up together, one episode at a time. Welcome back to the Your Family Dog podcast. My guest today is Angela Ardolino. I'm praying I'm saying that correctly. I'm sure. Angela A. is a holistic pet healthcare clinician, formulator, educator, and advocate, best known for developing hemp and functional mushroom animal wellness solutions that are safe, ethically sourced, and species appropriate. These are our kind of people. Wanting to show the efficacy of a mushroom and adaptogen solution for supporting dogs experiencing canine cognitive disorder or CCD. If your family has not been touched by a dog with canine cognitive disorder, you are richly blessed, and it's happened in our house a number of times, and it can be very, very difficult to navigate. Wanting to show efficacy for this kind of work, Angela undertook leading the Senior Dog Study, a research initiative created to move beyond guesswork and measure whether a functional mushroom and adaptogen routine may support brain-related behaviors and quality of life in senior dogs. Reported outcomes from the peer-reviewed study include that 81%, that's huge, right, of participating dogs showed stabilization or even improvement in cognitive scores, with the biggest gains seen in dogs with early to mid decline and no reported side effects. So we thought Angela would be a great person to have on the podcast today to help us navigate. Angela, I'm so glad you're here and that your media person reached out to me. Talk to me about what it is you do and how you're blessing animals and families in the world.
Oh, well, what I do is I am a clinician of plants and mushrooms. So I make plant and mushroom medicine. I understand how they work in the body, how they should be grown, strains, how you should extract them, how you make real medicine. But I'm a human clinician, but I concentrate on animals because I love them. My favorite things in the world are cannabis, mushrooms, and dogs, and so that's what I really concentrate on, but I have treated every animal that you could possibly imagine, with plant and mushroom medicine because they all have the same master system that we do, which is called the endocannabinoid system. And this system is in charge of keeping us at homeostasis and at balance and is in charge of all of the other systems. And our veterinarians and doctors are taught nothing about it.
I
When
think that's true in human medicine too.
It is. It is. There's some schools who have started to teach it. It's been
Yay.
discovered in the 90s. There is so much research out there that literally one of my favorite websites is called projectcbd.org. It's more human stuff, but literally you could type in arthritis and CBD and it will bring up every piece of research that has already been done, proven how good a full spectrum hemp extract or a full extract of cannabis oil is for pain, anxiety, allergies, cancer. It's just all in there. And it makes sense because why is this being kept from us and why aren't our doctors taught about it? Because it would replace the majority of drugs in the marketplace.
Well, and I don't want to take a big old poop on their plate either, right? There's a place for all those things as well. And I think you agree with me that it's really about a marriage of all of the things. Like, are we providing great nutrition that's sourced cleanly and is meeting the biological needs of the individual human or animal or non-human animal, um, or human animal, right? So I think that there's a such going through cancer just taught me there's a huge difference between building wellness and treating a problem. And I'm grateful and and love both of those.
But let me ask
Fortunately,
you something. If you paid 200 to $350,000 for your education to be a medical doctor and heal people, wouldn't you be pissed off that you weren't taught anything about the master system? Wouldn't you be mad when you got out of school? So I
right.
do have a beef. I do think it has a place.
I
It's
mean,
called Librella.
so I mean, if you ever watch Pet Fooled, and I'm sure some of it's changed, probably gotten worse since then, but that was one of the first things that really opened my eyes. And I will say, I grew up near Cornell. My parents were breeding and showing and training dogs. That's part of what they did professionally. And so I got to grow up at that lunch table, right? Like there were big, big brains that were wonderful. And back then, think 79, early 80s, those veterinarians were talking about natural options as well as, and they just viewed it as integrative, right? Like
Right.
just all of these things, nutrition is important. So they were teaching actual nutrition and how the pet food industry started. So my whole life, like silly, naive me, grew up going, right, but that's not food, that's feed.
Right.
And I wanna feed them food, the same way that I don't wanna eat McDonald's. I wanna eat something that's food. I don't want all the processed stuff.
Well, it's not even
So
McDonald's now. McDonald's is like some of these brands that are pretending to be real and raw or whatever it is. Kibble is like eating cereal, eating Cheerios every single day, and that's high end kibble. Eating Cheerios every single day with no milk. Like, how do we think that that's going to give us everything that we need?
well,
We
and it
you know that our immune system lives in our gut microbiome and it needs fiber. It needs plants and mushrooms.
so here's the thing, right? I don't wanna yell at them. There's a little bit of me saying, "Okay, I didn't know something until I knew something." And I don't think yelling at me like I'm a Capricorn, like, you try to bully me and push me around, and I'm just gonna headbutt you and then love you through it. So, I think from my perspective, I like to introduce my customers, like, on the training side to this tiny little switch of building longevity, supporting our dogs through their lives so that, in the words of Dr. Karen Becker, they're healthy, 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 dead, right?
Yep.
There's not this horrible slow decline, either mentally or physically, into a bad death. I will be candid on Tuesday. We're recording this on the 10th of April. On Tuesday, I euthanized our senior dog.
Oh, I'm so
16,
sorry.
yeah, he's a good boy. 16-year-old Jack Russell Terrier who had an amazing life, right? And my vet said, "You bring me the healthiest dying dogs." Like, it's what makes it so hard, right? Like, he was 16 and his blood work looks like he's 2,
Yeah.
right? But his
Makes
brain was gone. And
right.
so he was forgetting who he was.
Mhm.
So I had the opportunity. We've actually had Helen St. Pierre on the podcast previously. She has a senior dog hospice rescue,
I used to have one.
and I called her and I was like, "Hey, I need you to help me navigate because when it's my pet, it's different."
Right.
And she did. And she was like, "Are you waiting for an enormous crisis for him?
Right.
Like, love him and let him go. Like, give him a good death." And we did, right? For him, a good death meant that he ate a rabbit's foot that day and the rabbit was already dead. I purchased the rabbit foot. Thank you very much. It was just dehydrated, one ingredient, just a foot. He had no idea what it was, but he knew he wanted it, right? He died face planting into a bowl of chicken. Like, he was as happy it would have been like if you let me go face planting into a bowl of ice cream. It was the
Yes.
best, right? So, I said he was, like, having his best day and woke up in the next place, healed and healthy, and I, of course, told him he can come visit or come back anytime he wants. Like, our house is open to him. So what brought you to treating humans? We'll talk about that first.
I don't treat humans, I treat animals.
Oh, so you trained as a human
Trained,
practitioner.
yeah, because
Okay.
we have the same system, the endocannabinoid system, so,
Okay.
it's the same system that I'm dealing with in both animals. I just decided to become an expert on animals. They are a little different, especially our dogs, because we have
Right.
research that shows they have more receptors, so they're more sensitive to THC and things, so we need more than our animals. So because there were no experts, and for animals, especially dogs, I became that person. That's what I decided to do. But I had a senior dog rescue also. And what broke my heart is that the reason that there are so many senior dog rescues is because people give up, because they run
Oh,
out
no
of money.
question.
I also, when I made my formulas, I couldn't release them until 2018, and I got bored, so I also bought a groom shop that was near my house and then turned it into a fully holistic thing. I would see at least 100 dogs on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday,
Wow.
every single day. And most of the dogs were suffering. Most of the dogs were covered with the lumps and bumps. I'd talked to every pet parent. I tried everything. He's on all these meds. They make things worse. I changed the diet. They're either stopped going to the veterinarian, they don't trust the veterinarian, or they can't afford it anymore. And it broke my heart. And so I had all of the solutions because I had just finished gone to school, formulating, doing everything. I literally sold my business before that and literally spent 2 years doing everything from how do you source, strains, cannabinoid profiles, compounds, how do you grow things, how do you extract. I saw the best operation to the worst operation. And when I got out done with all that, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it for animals. Let me go find the person making the products. And they were not. There was nobody making them because they didn't know how to. They didn't know how animals were different. So at my rescue, I was dealing mostly with cancer, seizures, lameness, so many types of cancer, so many types of, is it IVDD, or are they just becoming weak? Is it degenerative myelopathy? Those types of things. And I also literally did not have too many dogs that I was losing cognition. I had a lot of them with early signs, like sundowners, but I didn't recognize what was going on. And it wasn't until one of my best cases, Miss Daisy, who literally came to me with an MCT golf ball sized tumor on her spine, on her back end, barely walking, dragging her left leg, and totally brought her back to health at 14. And when she turned 18, she started like getting up from her bed and walking over to her water bowl, wouldn't drink, go back, lay down, do it like 4 times in a row. And my partner said, who lost his dad to Alzheimer's, goes, I think she has Alzheimer's. And I was like, what makes you say that? I don't know if you know how you die from Alzheimer's. You forget how to eat and drink. You're
Well,
still
right.
thirsty and hungry, but you don't remember how to eat and drink. And this was happening to Miss Daisy in front of my eyes. So I went down the learn everything about dementia, could not believe this was happening. And what I always do is when I learn about a drug or a condition, I go, okay, what drugs are available? At the time, there were nothing. So when people
Right.
were going to their vet saying, hey, my dog is wandering around, getting lost, she's missing the pee pad, or she's no
Right.
longer
Going to the wrong side of the door,
wrong side of the door. That's all
cries or
early
barks if
signs.
she doesn't see me or if I'm
Yep.
not touching her.
Wakes up in the middle of the night for no reason. Do I need to go outside and pee? Do I want to drink? Do I just want to
Am
have a
I hungry?
bed? Am
Am
I
I lonely?
exactly. So all of that I now know is sundowners, and it's all early signs of dementia, and it all can be helped with mushrooms and adaptogens. What's beautiful is that I didn't realize that I was already watching many of these dogs have early signs. And from one of the reasons that it probably I wasn't seeing it is because they were all on a full spectrum hemp extract and adaptogens. I just didn't have them. I wasn't treating that or addressing that at all. So,
Right. There wasn't a hyper focus on it.
right. And since I knew that dogs were being put down because there is nothing more that you can do, that's what was being told to them. I'm like, let me get to work. So I created a formula because at the time my soul dog was still alive and he was 15, I believe, at the time, and I was like, "I don't want this happening to him," and he was waking me up every night. Didn't same thing, take him to the water bowl, "Nope, not thirsty." Take you outside, "Why am I out here?" Literally. So
Right, that unsettled, if I'm inside, I wanna be outside, if I'm outside, I wanna be inside, if I'm on the left, I wanna be on the right, and it's like, "Okay, sweetheart," like, and I will tell you, like, from the dog behavior and training side, it destroys marriages, like, because the humans aren't getting enough sleep, there's that, I always just refer to it as chaos energy
Mhm.
in the house. It makes you nutty.
Yeah.
Like, it's so stressful for our
Mm.
systems, and then they're becoming incontinent, you start to get tired of cleaning it up all the time, you're sad that this dog who's your best friend is now soiling themselves constantly, and I think a lot of people will make the decision because they realize they're losing patience, right? And they don't wanna be unkind to their best friend, right? With Mister, the dog we let go on Tuesday, Christopher and I both are very agreeable. Like, if you think of the agreeable and disagreeable kind of ends of the continuum, we're both pretty agreeable. And so while it's not fun, we've been cleaning up this dog soiling for a long time. We've adapted our household that if he needs to do that, like, he's not ideally not laying in it. And when we got to the point that those management things didn't work anymore was when we started to go, okay, this isn't fair to him. So there's a little piece of me that's like worried that as we go on in this conversation, I'm going to be like, well, crud.
No,
Um,
and I don't
but
want you or anyone to feel that way. If I have to tell you about losing my first dog, doing everything wrong, I will, but I don't wanna waste time on that. I wanna tell you, same thing. I lost Daisy, Miss Daisy, to dementia, and I am a clinician, and I had the tools, I just didn't know how to use them, and now I do, and this is why I spend all my time telling everybody, and why I paid a whole bunch of money to do a piece of clinical research proving what I created helped.
Well, and that is, I think, where the marriage between traditional medicine, whether it's humans or animals, and holistic, integrative, all of that is going to come together. I
Yeah.
think when we start saying, like, okay, we're going to hold the all natural options to a clinical standard. Like, I won't recommend anything that doesn't have clinical trials and real clinical trials. Like, it's peer reviewed, the information's been duplicated, we know that it's accurate. Um, I just won't recommend it. If somebody says to me, "Well, can I try this?" I'm like, "Great, yeah, sure, you can try it." I'm not comfortable saying, "Here, I know this is safe and, has good efficacy." So talk about, what I read your blurb for the
Senior dog
introduction.
study. Yeah.
So 81%, and I was like, 81%? Holy guacamole. Like, talk to me.
So what's interesting is that remember I didn't set out to be a manufacturer, but now I am, you know?
Congratulations.
I wanted to go honestly, how I started my career was teaching veterinarians and doctors about, the endocannabinoid system and cannabis medicine and mushroom medicine and how it interacts, and that's literally what I do most of my time doing is teaching, educating, speaking, appearing on podcasts so that I can get this information out because even though I've proven it in clinical research, no one is going to talk about it or cover it, which is really, really sad because now there is something for humans that's given, but it does not help them. And there's a drug coming out this year that's based on the same chemical compounds, and it literally is not intended to be given more than a year. So they don't intend on increasing or helping your dog's longevity or health span. It's just that more of us have older dogs because we have figured out diet and nutrition and lifestyle. And now they're going to sell us something that's an anti age cognition, something that is not going to help them. It's going to be another chemical burden that their old body has to deal with. So, I went ahead, whether I could afford it or not, made this clinical research happen. And what happened is that I also learned what happens in research. So be careful with that. But I hired a clinical research who was a retired conventional veterinarian of 15 years, started this research firm, does it with pharmaceutical drugs. Because I wanted to do everything that a pharmaceutical drug does.
Right,
And
without spending $1 billion.
right. And he said, and the reason that they have to spend $1 billion is because they're recreating something in a lab.
Right,
That's why.
that already exists,
That already exists. So
right?
that's
Like,
why they have to spend
isn't
years
I
and
I
years.
wanna say I wanna say my holistic vet 150 years ago when I was young said, um, "Instead of giving this dog Valium, you should just give him valerian root." And
Exactly.
I was like, "Well, at what dose?" And she's like, "Well, that was the thing." Like, I think at the time, and I could be misquoting, so don't beat me up if I'm wrong. I'm good at being wrong. Um, I think she said like Valium's 10% or valerian root is 10% as effective because the Valium is so highly concentrated. So she's like, that's why we made a drug, right? And she is a holistic vet who also does traditional medicine. So she was like, start this way. And that's one of the things I loved about her is I could talk to her about what was going on with my dog, like on a behavior level. And she would say, yeah, this is outside of what I feel like we can really, and this was a long time ago, but this is outside of what I think we can do holistically. I think we need to now look at medications. And I was grateful for that guidance because while I am curious about everything, I have the same 24 hours in a day that everybody else has. And if I'm busy researching XYZ, I'm not serving my customers. I'm not serving my family. I'm sitting and doing research, and eventually I'm going to forget to eat and drink. So, even though I'm hungry and thirsty. Like, so I think we have sometimes too much information, not enough wisdom. So I am trying to have the wisdom of having lots of people who know lots of amazing things that I can rely on their information.
Yeah. I do that too. I have a, very trusted holistic veterinarian too.
Well, I mean, isn't it Einstein who didn't even know his phone number? Like, why if I can look it up? So I'm trying to, as I age, have a little bit more of that perspective. So
Right.
so talk to me. So 81% of dogs had
And
in this study
yeah, so
had
we took dogs that were diagnosed with CCD, which is dementia for dog.
so they were already
They
diagnosed.
were already diagnosed. And we had severe, moderate, and mild cases. The severe cases did not get worse. The moderate and mild improved. So, the reason that this happened and the reason why we were able to prove this, and we also did it and tracked it in several ways. So, we had a collar that tracked their heart rate, activity. Were they sleeping through the night? Are they wandering in circles? So, we tracked all of that. We did 2 blood tests. One is BDNF, which is the brain derived neurotrophic factor, which literally proves that we have neurogenesis and are regenerating neurons instead of them just dying and not making new ones.
Right.
And CRP, C reactive protein, which is an inflammatory marker. We also did pet parent surveys. So, are they sleeping through the night? Did you wake up last night? Are they wandering around? Are they not showing as many signs? So, that's how we tracked everything. I bring that up because that's what I came up with. I used my critical thinking skills and thought, how would I be able to prove that we really are doing something? I
Right. That
say
there's
that because,
something quantifiable and something qualifiable.
right. Because our researcher told us, he literally was like, I just want to dampen your expectations because you guys think you're going to get this incredible outcome. And we're like, yeah, I know I am because I did it already at my farm several times on my rescue. So I know what's going to happen. I can't wait to see the results. And he goes, and how most research works for pharmaceutical drugs, for new drugs, is that they only have to run it for 3 months. And all they have to prove is that the animal's health doesn't change. So they do it on young dogs for 3 months and go, it's fine. And I'm like, so we did ours for 3 months. And also, I don't know if you've heard of Librela that's out right now, has over 17,000 adverse events. I have the attorney who's leading the class action suit against them. FDA has sent them a warning, sent veterinarians warning. It is still on the market. They have not taken it off, or changed any of their warnings on there. Do you want to know what their research they did? 3 months with pet parent surveys. I, little old me, did more than Zoetis, a multi-billion-dollar company. They don't care about your pet. All of these drugs that they're coming out with are terrible drugs.
So
And,
so
you know, I
I'm
ask holistic
I'm gonna
now,
I'm
and
gonna
they say,
extend th
"I
I'm
would
gonna
never
extend
trust
them.
a new drug. I would wait at least 5 years to
Right.
see."
Oh, well, so first, I'm gonna extend grace. I'm gonna assume the best in people, right? This is just my, like, lens, is I'm going to do my best to endeavor to believe everyone is doing the best they can with the best of intentions. They are well-meaning,
I remember
even
being that
if
way before I knew so much.
and there can still be a profit reason. I mean, I gotta pay bills too, right? I
Like,
can't do everything for free, right?
absolutely.
I wish I could. If I could, I would. Um, I want them employing people and all of the things. Like, I'm not gonna beat up on big corporations for doing what they do, right? What I So I'm gonna extend grace. However, comma, I agree with you that I am not s so if it's my typical dog, unless we are at a crisis point, I do not wanna try that brand new thing.
Right.
I want it to be an old drug before we try it. Now, for the person whose dog's quality of life is in the toilet and their vet says this is something we can try, I totally understand the vet wanting to help that dog. And if that means that we give them another 6 months, that is a bargain we're willing to make, right? If I almost talked to my vet about Librela on Tuesday about my now oldest dog because he started looking at the stairs at the deck before he comes up them.
Librela doesn't have anything to do with it. Librela's
Oh,
for
sorry.
arthritis.
Right, a pain for
Right,
pain,
right.
right? So it's the same thing. I wasn't saying for cognition, I'm saying for pain. Like he is
Oh, okay.
starting to get pain
Oh, okay.
that
Pain can be completely controlled by a full spectrum hemp extract. This is how pain works. It works in 5 signaling pathways. Cannabis already proven to interact with all 5 of those pathways. Pharmaceutical drugs are made to interact with one of those pathways. So you get one drug, you go back to the vet, how's his pain? I still think he's in pain. You get another one, and then another one, and then another one. You have no idea what happens when you take all those concoctions of chemicals, put them together, and put it in your little dog's body. When the solution already exists. Those pain meds are not needed and are being abused on our dogs. And what's happening with Librela, and this is the attorney's story, what happens with Librela is people are bringing in their perfectly healthy, like yours, old dogs, and they go, "Hey, there's this new drug for old dogs. Do you want to try it? What are the side effects?" There aren't any because that's what the salesperson
oh,
just came in and told.
yeah.
And now they give a perfectly healthy dog a drug it does not need, and he's dead in 24-hour, 48 hours. And then they call, and the vet goes, what? Literally, 2
Well,
stories of interviews of the vets now doing the autopsy and going, "Yes, this killed the dog, and I cannot believe this was not told to me." Because
right.
they buy him lunch, and they tell them what the drugs do, because just like you said, you don't have time to do the research, neither do they.
Neither do they, right? And they don't enjoy euthanasia. They don't. They don't enjoy animal suffering. They wouldn't be veterinarians if they did, right? They want to help. And so when something that they perceive to be reputable, and I'm going to assume like they Zoeta doesn't make the FDA rules.
No.
The FDA does, right? So if the FDA, which I could make a cogent argument, needs a major overhaul.
The FDA doesn't tell the FDA has told Librela to take it off and tell everybody and put the warnings, and they still have not done it. The
Right.
FDA doesn't have control over it. The FDA cannot pull something off the shelves. The corporation is supposed to do that. I just learned this from my podcast with the attorney. That's why I was like, "Why is the FDA allowing this?" And he goes, "It's not their job."
Right. So
Actually, what they
part
do
of it
is they
is
work for the
like
pharmaceutical
I
companies.
personally like government small enough that I can throttle it. Um and I do think that this is where social media can be really dangerous to the status quo. Because if each of us lives and reaches for our values and integrity with like each of our individual perspectives of compassion, what I view to be compassionate and what you view to be compassionate may be different. There may be a whole bunch of things you and I don't agree on. But if we are each working to the best that we can possibly do, then it all gets taken care of and we can all learn. And that is part of what scares me about the the situation in the world right now. That I don't think it matters where you are. Anything gets shouted down. And I just don't want to get shouted down. I just don't want to I want to hear the good and the bad about the research on pancreatic cancer going on in Europe. Right? I wanna have the conversation, and it feels like now it can be really difficult that it's like you're in one camp or the other camp, and I really endeavor not to be in a camp. I'm just trying to be in my dog's camp, and the reason why is because my dog is gonna love my kids and be safer with my kids, my grandkids, the community children, if my dog feels better and is healthier.
Mhm.
And when I have and I love my vet, like, I love her. I adore her.
That's
And
all.
she was hysterical. She's like, "Don't tell me what you're feeding." Because she had pounded into her that all these things are terrible. And at the same time, we're euthanizing my dog, and afterwards she's saying to me, "You bring me the healthiest dying dogs." And there's a part of me that wants to go, okay, so we've had every breed under the sun. We'd have every mix under the sun. We've had all these things. And I'm not doing the best I wish I could do on nutrition. I'm just doing the bare minimum of what I can live with. And you're seeing it over and over and over again. And with my dogs and my cat, I understand it's anecdotal, it's not research. But man, someone with an experience is not at the mercy of someone with an opinion. I was a human foster parent. Science telling me that children are unimpacted by sugar. I wanted to say, hey, science, let me jack this kid up on some sugar and you take him home.
Mhm.
Because you can tell me all day long that you don't think sugar impacts the behavior of a child. And I am going to tell you you're wrong. Your research, however you conducted it, was wrong
It's probably
because
the sugar.
every single parent sees it.
Yeah. Well, do you believe in the veterinary's oath or the doctor's oath?
I would love to live in the vet
So
like,
if they just followed that, I wouldn't be here yelling. I wouldn't be here complaining. I wouldn't be here. I know too much. I know so much more than you and the average pet parent. And I am not here bashing anyone. I'm just speaking the truth. And people don't know how things work. I'm
yeah, but people
let
don't like
pet
that.
parents know. Right.
And
I'm
imagine
here to
and
let pet
imagine
parents know they have a choice. And I
right.
wanna be given a choice, and they're
Yes.
not given a choice a lot of times. I also want them to know that your vet does not know everything and that you are responsible for your pet's health and wellness, not them. They can't know everything. So that's my messaging. I believe I come from a do no harm way of practicing medicine. Yes, emergency medicine is very important. Yes, surgeries are important. I'm not asking them to go away, but they should not be the first thing that we turn to. And people aren't, the vet is not even taught about the other things, so they can't offer them to you.
Right.
Three leading causes of disease: are the first two. They're same for pets as us, heart disease and cancer. 1 in 4 dogs is getting cancer. They are getting that cancer because of the crap that's in their food, supplements, and prescription medications.
And water
In
and air
everything. It's
and
in their
bowl.
water. Yeah, it's in their flea. We're literally putting pesticides on them. And then if you want to go, okay, but that's the way it's done in my family, and I want my family to have a dog. Well, that's getting on your family. It's getting on your couch in your bed, and when you hug them and kiss them, those are getting on you. The same thing with whatever you're putting in the yard and that gets on them, they're going to bring it right into the house. So all of that matters, and I just think it's important. I am uh dogs, I think, are the most incredible animals on earth. They're literally give us unconditional love. And losing my soul dog I'm still not over it. And it happened 3 years ago. I'm still not over it. I got him to 18, same thing, healthy mind. He got actually a chiropractic adjustment that shouldn't have happened, that started to set everything off, and quality of life disappeared quickly.
Well, and
And
we only know what we
people
know
know
when
they
we
have
know it,
choices, right? Yeah. So
right?
I know
And I will say, like,
feel that way about their dog and spend thousands and thousands of dollars at the vet that they shouldn't. Their dog, you're spending their whole last years of life going back and forth, dealing with the side effects of the drugs, giving a drug for the side effect of the other drug. So I just know too much. So that's why I sound like I am negative and whatever. But I also want you to know that I have been bullied and suppressed and canceled by them. We are not allowed to operate together. I wish that we were that way, but that is
is
not
there
the case.
so even integrative and holistic vets don't talk to you?
Oh, yeah, I have hundreds of
Okay, so it really
they
is just
prescribe our stuff or whatever. No, I'm talking about the conventional veterinarian
right,
that will not do integrative. But I also want to make sure that you know that there's a lot of people calling themselves integrative and holistic because we're making an impact in educating enough people for them to now start asking for that instead of just remember, they're taught a standard of care. They're
right.
taught you have kidney disease, you get these procedures, you get these drugs, and then a candy company came in and said, here's the food you feed them for kidney disease because you don't know anything about diet and nutrition. So we're going to take care of that for you. We're going to give you the same food we gave you for free and that we taught you what to do in school because I've been in the vet schools teaching about the endocannabinoid system, and they are completely controlled by the same candy companies that now own all the vet offices and own the food and the drugs and everything else. It's corrupt. There is no repercussion for killing your pet with my bad food or my bad supplement or my bad drug. They're considered property. And
Yes.
I literally entered the space thinking I'd be around a bunch of hippie loving dog people. And instead, I am
No.
surrounded by all the evil players because they know we're going to spend more money on our pet. We're going to look for, we're going to go, wait, we want real food. Nope, we don't want those additives and fillers and synthetics. So they're literally preying on us. So I'm surrounded by the bad players. So if I sound negative, I apologize, but I just want you to know that it ain't easy doing what we do. And even I haven't even gotten to the part of people who are claiming to make natural products that are not natural products and that have no certificate of analysis, aren't therapeutic grade, have no mushrooms or hemp or plants in them at all, but say they do. So it's just a lot for pet parents to navigate. But if you really love your pets and you really want them to have longevity, you just have to say real food is real food is real food. So every single thing, whether now it's cognition or pain or cancer, it all can be dealt with holistically. And I just want you to know you have that choice because people don't think they have that choice. So I just
Right.
want you to know that you have it.
And I will say, like, in choosing veterinary professionals, for example, I want someone who has solid rooted footing in both. Now, am I ever going to feed what she recommends? No, because I read the label. Um,
Good.
and she's not going to, generally speaking, agree. Like, I'm going to call a veterinary nutritionist who uses, like, call the butcher, right?
Yeah.
And here's the recipe, and home make this food for this dog for this issue. Um,
So those are my
where
type of people. And I did you if I could interrupt you on this,
Sure.
and what I'm like driving me crazy now is I used to do consults all the time with a holistic veterinarian. Now I try to just get that pet parent who's already, we call them the 2.0. We know we're gonna cook our own food. We're gonna source everything ourselves, do it ourselves. But what's being sold to you now is a powdered vitamin and mineral supplement that you throw on top to make it balanced. And that thing that you're throwing on top is going to ruin all the work you just did.
Right,
'Cause
right.
it's a
But
bunch of synthetics, of vitamins, minerals, nutrients that gonna disrupt the gut's microbiome. Also, you don't know what the nutritional content in the food that you're already doing is, so you could do too much of a mineral and cause problems.
well, and I one of my favorite frustrations is they won't give you digestibility. They Lots of dog food companies are like, "Oh, that's proprietary." I'm like, "It's not proprietary." If I have a dog and I have a laboratory analyze what nutrition is in a cup of dog food, and we feed that dog only that dog food, and we collect the caca, and we analyze the caca and what nutrition is in it, the difference is the digestibility. If literally anyone with $7,000 a dog in a bag of dog food can do that, that's not proprietary.
Great point.
And I learned
I
that from
literally
a
just
veterinary
Yeah,
nutritionist.
I love that you're saying this because I literally just, sent my own poop in to be tested and could see what my body was doing and what it was detoxing and what it was hanging on to. And yeah, it's very easy to do. So that's a great point.
Yeah. So talk to me about, so you had this research performed, peer reviewed, clinical trial, you know what it's doing. So for the person, like right now, we have an 11-year-old dog, the one who has pain, and we have two younger, 2.5 year old dogs that to all the world appear healthy. Um, when would the average family, if they wanted to prevent cognitive decline? Because I personally think prevention is worth a pound a cure. Like, I'm a big believer in that. When should we start thinking about, like, I'm already trying to do the nutrition piece. We have a whole house filter to try to make the water safe. We have a whole house filter to try to make the air clean.
Nice.
So I'm not using pesticides in my backyard, where
That's
the dogs hang.
cool. Is when you make these changes for your dog, you're making them for your
For
whole.
yourself. And
You
and I'll be
I'll let you
clear, I would never make the changes for me, but I will
exactly.
totally make it for my animals.
And that's what happens on a daily basis. I have women our age go, "Oh my god, he's better. He's Will this work for me?" And I go, "Uh-huh," because it
Right.
really is not as hard as it has been made out to be. So, what if we're gonna talk about seniors, and that's literally when things start going wrong. Um,
Well,
when
is that when it starts going wrong, or is that where we see signs of it going wrong and it's been going wrong for a long time?
I should fix that. That's when you go to the vet because something you think
You're like,
there's
"He's not
pain.
acting right.
Right, and it's
Looking at the
usually.
stairs funny."
So when I say things go wrong, meaning that's where the cascade of shit starts to happen. He gets his first pain pill because he's got arthritis, or his first shitty supplement that has glucosamine and chondroitin and MSM. Those are all isolates thrown in a powder. Feed it in the food. Don't throw it in on a powder. So that when I say that's when things start going wrong, it's because we intervene with something that does not help the body The body has an innate ability to heal itself. Plants and mushrooms are just helping the body do its job instead of a pharmaceutical or isolates that are like glucosamine or chondroitin that disrupt the body. It just messes with the gut. It makes the detox pathways have to work overtime to figure out what these things and not doing what it's supposed to do on a regular basis. So, uh, the first thing you need to know is when your dog's a senior. So if it's a large breed dog, 6, 7 years old, it is a senior citizen.
So
6,
so
7,
what would you consider a large breed dog?
like a Great Dane, a Saint Bernard, anything that weighs over 100 pounds, absolutely.
Okay.
I would even say anything that's 90 above is a large breed dog.
Okay, I usually quantify it at 85. So,
Good,
good
close
that
enough.
I know that we're talking kinda loosely apples and apples.
Yep. And the
Okay, so
medium-sized dogs are seniors at 10 or 11 years old.
and where's your lower cutoff for that?
I would go all the way, like, you said you had Jack Russell, I would even consider a Jack Russell if he wasn't a little one, a medium-sized dog.
Oh, he was a little one.
Then I'd consider him a little one. I would, like, say under 20 pounds is little, and then
Okay.
anything between 20 and 85 is medium. Little, age 10, they're senior citizens, and all that means is that's when we decide they're gonna need a little bit more support. That's when I would start proactively. The only time I would do something earlier is if A, I had a feeling that maybe I had a dog that needed some extra support or I had a breed. So, like Nina, my Doberman, I knew she was prone to DCM and osteosarcoma.
I
So,
just lost my 4-year-old Doberman in December to osteosarcoma,
I so we were meant to meet.
and
My
I
10-year-old Doberman got it.
and I had him like, part of the reason when the owner said, "Hey, I wanna surrender him," that I was like, "Yes, I'm game," was that my heart dog was aging, and I thought, "Okay, if I'm bringing this Doberman up." My parents used to breed and show Dobermans, so it's a breed I know very well, I love them.
So I
Um,
would love to talk to your parents about how they've probably seen a
mm,
large increase on Dobermans getting. Do you know 1 in 9
well,
large
they've
breed
died,
dogs
so but they're
1 in
but
9 large breed dogs gets osteosarcoma.
so I've now lost 2 Doberman, 5 and younger to osteosarcoma,
Oh,
and I lost my senior dog to hemangiosarcoma. And again, these 2 all 3 of these dogs, their blood work was perfect. Their urinalysis, perfect. But there was disease process that I couldn't get to and didn't know how to well, I'm going to live in there's nothing I could have done to prevent it. I'm wondering now if I'm gonna hear from you that there were things I could do to
no,
prevent
because
it, and I'll just have to let that go.
well, maybe. Well, this is why we're bringing this up because I said well, let's start these things when they become seniors because that's usually when shit goes sideways. Except if you've got a dog that is prone to certain things, like a large breed dog who is prone. 1 in 9 gets osteosarcoma. 1 in 4 for all dogs get cancer. So, is there something? So, Nina was 8 and I prolonged her life for 2 years completely holistically. Her protocol has been used thousands of times. I had so many veterinarians involved. When she got to the year point, they said it's not osteosarcoma, lost several of them because I didn't even amputate the leg. Um, but extended her life. I didn't lose her until I did amputate the leg because I've learned so much through this and with holistic veterinarians, the one that followed me all the way till the end. When you put a dog under, you set the immune system offline. You remove a leg because it's got cancer in it, and the immune system comes back online. What do you think it's concentrating on? The missing limb. And that's
Right.
literally when cancer gets to take over. Remember the 5 pathways I talked about pain? Cancer has 12 of them. So I already had the research that showed that just cannabis alone interacts with 8 of those pathways in several ways more ways than one. So one pathway could be a rogue cell turning into a cancer cell. That pathway, cannabis will either stop it, block it so that it cannot turn into it, or it will downgrade it so that it goes away. That's what I mean by more than one action. So
Right.
everything from metastasis, from uh, cells coming together and forming the tumor shooting out a blood supply to a vein to feed itself, to cells dying and then going out. All of those are different pathways. Cannabis has been proven for 8. You add other adaptogens like turkey tail, lion's mane, chaga, reishi, ashwagandha, astragalus root, all these incredible adaptogens. And what adaptogens are a subset of herbs and mushrooms that adapt to whatever our stressors are. So we could take a tincture, you and I could take the same thing, but it's going to adapt to what we need, which is beautiful. And we cannot overdose on them, and you can't have too many of them. And they have been heavily researched and proven already to do these things. But
We're going to have to talk offline a little bit.
yes, absolutely. I'll
Um,
share with you the one that we did in research, which helped me not get brain fog during menopause. So it's
well,
amazing
so
what they do.
so
But let me
when
finish the one point about Nina. So when I
right,
got through the whole thing with Nina, I said to them, if we know, my veterinarians that I had doing it with me, I said, if we know that 1 in 9 large breeds gets just osteosarcoma, shouldn't we be recommending that they start a full spectrum hemp extract earlier in life? Like 2 years old. And they said to start at 6 months.
so we're
So
watching the
it is something
extinction.
you can do.
We're watching the extinction of the Doberman
Yes. And the
because
Rottweiler
we don't have enough clean
and the
genetic material. So there's actually a project that's underway to go back to
like
the
the
Earl
Frenchies.
von Doberman's breeding records and genetically testing and choose and recreating this amazing family dog breed, right?
Amazing.
I just switched from all the different breeds we've had. We had decided to go a different route in losing. So I've lost 3 dogs in 5 months
Ugh.
and my mom. So it's been a fascinating year. So we decided to go to a sighthound breed that, generally speaking, doesn't have a lot of health issues. They have longevity, and the breeders, because it's a still a relatively rare breed group, the breed has only been created for 30 years. They've started almost from the beginning doing all this genetic testing. So they know what's showing up in their breed. They're spaying and neutering and eliminating from the gene pool, still living their lives, right? But they're being the breeders are being hugely responsible, which is my experience in most breeds. My parents have been breeding my parents bred and showed dogs for almost 40 years. If my mom or dad learned something that they could have done better, they absolutely did it. They did it, right?
Mhm,
If an animal had a medical problem that they found out about later, that dog was no longer in the bloodline and neither were any of their get, because they wanted to produce the healthiest, best version of each breed that they could possibly create.
mhm.
But I would tell you, like, there's a Doberman group I'll share with you that time and time again, their dogs are being diagnosed and they're dead within 6 months. And those people are doing all the things that they're being told to do, and their dogs are being devastated. So I've had 3 Doberman pinchers in my adult life. One I lost at 5 to bone cancer, one I lost now at just 4 to bone cancer. My other one lived to almost 17.
Your old was that the oldest one? Like, the one you had earliest? There.
No, that's the middle one, right? And
So,
all 3 came from rescue. None of them came from a reputable breeder. Um, we didn't have genetic testing on any of them. These were
do you have any
just,
warlocks?
pardon me?
Do you have any warlocks?
No.
So Nina was a warlock. So it was interesting because they said start giving it to her at a year. And that makes sense to me because you are literally, since we know we have the research of what cannabis does to cancer. Like, remember when I said the tumor shoots out that blood supply? Just the action of THC cuts that off. When it kills cancer cells, it even interacts with that pathway to get them out of the body. So I literally got to see this. At 18 months of her having osteosarcoma, I took her to this crazy veterinarian. Her foot was getting swollen because it was starting to cut off. It was in her wrist, cut off circulation. So I was like, I think we need to amputate it, but let's see what's going on. Let's see where it is. She did an 8-point diagnostic to show, because she likes to show this is where it is, this is where it's spread, whatever. Not even a speck on her lungs, 18 months of having osteosarcoma.
Wow.
She did a live blood culture to show you the cancer cells, couldn't find one. Like, it had not moved from the wrist, which is what happens in osteosarcoma, is that it spreads within 4 months to the lungs and your dog is dead. It didn't move. It did not even, have you ever had they look at the x-rays and they go, well, let me look at this closely. Not even a speck on her
Right.
lungs. So that's how incredible hemp and mushrooms are. I literally developed the vitality for Nina because that's when I went down. I was a practitioner for another company and then found out how they grew and made and how everything was a powder and not a therapeutic dose. So this is what I did. I'm not a veterinarian, and this is what I was able to do to understand how plant and mushroom medicine works. You can help without side effects. You can help without doing no harm. We do not have to give them these arthritis things, these Librellas, these Apoquils, these Cytopoints. They're all linked to cancer. This is what the
Yes.
issue is.
Yes. And yes, I would love that. If someone wants to learn more or ask you a question, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
I have a podcast too called Your Natural Dog. So this is all I talk about. And I do bring on veterinarians who are practicing now with, whether they always did because they were traditional Chinese or Ayurvedic or herbalist, or ones that are now learning about the endocannabinoid system and having the same success I did. My website's angelaardolino.com. My podcast is Your Natural Dog. And both of those, you can find us all over social media. Yep. And my email or you message me or my email, I always answer. If I can't, for some reason, I'll hand you off to somebody else who knows almost as much as I do who can help you. Like,
And who can ask you if they don't know?
right. Like, people can go, do you know a vet? I have vets and coaches and practitioners listed on my website so that I'm not the only one. A lot of people are like, oh my God, how do I find a holistic vet? There's a lot of them that you could do telehealth with. So you could literally go get blood work and x-rays and then sit down with them and they will talk you through everything. And they are truly holistic, where they will only turn to that prescription when they have to, or that medication when they have to, because it's an emergency or it's desperate and they need it. There's a place for them. They're just not
Yes.
supposed to be given all the time because they literally disrupt. They take away the body's ability to heal itself.
I think more and more the world wants to know this pretty balance and how to navigate it without throwing anybody under the bus, just understanding like we have choice. And if somebody wants to treat their cancer holistically, I don't actually have a quarrel with that. I really like my surgeon. She did a really great job and I love her, and she was a soft place for me to land when I was out of my depth. So I'm not going to be mad at her, right?
Right. No.
Um, so I think for our dogs, I just want that, or our cats even, I just want that for them too, and for us. So thank you for generously spending your time with us today. I know I went over. We will have you back if you will have us back. And
Absolutely.
I very much look forward to learning more. Thank you so much.
So nice to meet
Listener,
you.
if you have questions for Angela, you can just reach out to the podcast. I can get you I'll make show notes from our conversation today. We'll have Angela back on. And thank you for spending your time with us on Your Family Dog. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help share the word and understand that if you're a traditional vet, we love that you're here. Like, we love that you love our community and that you love our dogs the best you know how to do it. And we are not against you. We are all on the very same team of loving our family dogs and having just great, loving lives with them as long as we possibly can. See you next time on Your Family Dog Podcast. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for spending part of your precious day with us. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to follow, rate, subscribe so that you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you. Connect with us on social media or email us at yourfamilydogpodcast@gmail.com. We'll see you soon.